Hey, what's up everyone? So I'm gonna be remaking my first ever video because it's been about a year since I made it. And that video I explained how to make a GFX in a very beginner way. So this video is very beginner level. If this is your first time making a GFX, you're in the right place. I'm gonna try to explain this as simple and as easy as possible as I can. So you're gonna need three things. You're gonna need Blender, Roblox Studio, and Photoshop. And if you already own Roblox, then you should already have Roblox Studio. So you're a third of the way there. So when you go in the studio, you're gonna want to get a quick plugin. Now, to get it is pretty easy. So you want to go to Home, and you want to make sure your toolbox is selected. Then you want to go to this little tab over here, and you want to go to Plugins, and you want to type in Load Character. There we go. And two things are going to pop up. One is going to be a paid version, and one is going to be a free version. You just want to select the free one. Now, mine says installed already because I already installed it a long time ago. But you're going to hit that, wait for it to install. Then you need to go up here to plugins. Now, once yours is done installing, it should already be loaded up, and you should be good. You just need to click it, and this little box will appear. And all you need to do now is just type in a username. I'm going to type in mine since it's going to be simple. Now you want to make sure you have spawn at origin, and you also want to make sure you hit spawn R6. It's very important that you do that. And I will talk about why that's important later, but for now, what we want to do is we want to go to Explorer tab, make sure we selected our character, and you want to go down to the properties, and you want to go down to origin. You want to hit 0, 3, 0. I messed that up. And there you go. So let's just make sure that your character isn't clipped into the ground. That's going to be important later. So for now, what we want to do is we want to select our accessories because we want to get them out of Roblox Studio and into a OBJ file. Now, if you don't know what an OBJ file is, that's fine. You're okay. Don't panic. So you just want to select all of them. So all you have to do is hit Control and then just start selecting them. Then you want to right click. Then you want to hit Save and Export Selection. And then you want to go to a folder. Now I already have mine prepared. Just a little quick folder for the tutorial. Now in items is all my accessories that I've already saved them. Now, you can name this file anything. You can name it accessories, items, models, whatever you feel you need to. Just make sure you remember what you name it. But after that, after you save yours, what you want to do is delete all of your accessories, and then you want to hit your character once again. Then you want to right click, save and export selection, and you want to do the exact same thing, but this time make another folder separate from the one you put your accessories. That's also going to be important. Now I just named mine rig because we're going to be attaching these textures to the rig. Again, just open up that folder, type in rig or whatever you want, and save it. Now, once you did that, you're pretty much done with Roblox Studio. I'm going to move on to Blender. But before that, I'm going to show you how to get Blender. Alright, to get Blender is pretty simple. I'm going to leave all the links to every website I go to in the description, so don't even worry about looking them up. But if you really want to, here is the URL, and here's the URL for the other one. But again, they're going to be in the description, so don't even worry about that. So then you want to go down to, go up to download. And then you just want to hit download Blender. Now from there, it should install. It's going to ask you if you want to donate. You don't have to donate. Again, everything in this video is free. You don't have to worry about paying a single dime. Now, once you download it, you're going to have to install it onto your laptop or PC. It's very step by step. I think you guys can handle it. But once you did that, you want to go to the other link, which is the Roblox starter rigs. Now these are literally what make posing and setting up your characters so much easier. So what you want to do is go to this link. Now you're gonna see name a fair price, and again, it's free. You can just type in 0 and then you can put I want this. Now after you did that, you can type in add a tip as 0. Again, do not worry about spending a single dime. You can put your email address in. This is just to send a receipt. It's not going to send anything. And plus the receipt is for $0. So again, do not worry about it. I'm like stressing that it's free because, you know, I hate paying for things. So you just want to hit get. Now, once you hit get, two things will pop up: the Roblox HD faces and the Roblox starter rigs. Now you're gonna need both, so hit download on both and it should automatically download. Now that's pretty much, you have everything what you need now. We just need to go to Blender and start installing things. Trust me, not that complicated, but let's get into Blender. Alright, once you open up Blender, this is the screen you're gonna see. Do not mind this screen, you can just hit left click anywhere on the screen, that would disappear. But as you see, we're gonna have a cube, a light source, and a camera. We can just delete those two because we don't need them for right now. So what we need to do is we need to get a rig in. Now rig, again, it's where you put your textures, it's where you equip your accessories, and it makes you able to pose a character model. So what you want to do is you want to go into edits, then you want to go into preferences. Now there's going to be a little tab that says add-on, and then you want to hit this small little box and install from disk. Now you want to go straight to your downloads, and as you see, I already downloaded the Roblox HD faces and the starter rigs twice. Why did I do it twice? It was a mistake. Honestly, honest mistake. But that doesn't matter. So you want to go into that, and then you just want to hit install from disk. Now I already have mine installed, so I don't really need to worry about it. But once it's done installing, you're going to see that this is going to pop up, Roblox starter rigs. You just want to make sure this box is selected. If it is, you're good to go. You just exit out of this now. Now you can notice nothing's changed until you hit this little tab over here, and you're going to see tool, view, and starter rigs. You won't see Blender kit, that's another add-on I have, so don't worry about that. So you want to hit select rig. Now we're going to be working with the blocky rig. Of course, there is a bunch of other rigs to work with, but for now we're going to worry about the starter blocky rig. As you see, as soon as we hit that, our blocky rig moves in. As you see, it's going to be gray, it's going to be boring, and we're going to add some life to it. And how do we do that? Well, we're going to go into the shading tab. Give it a second to load. Alright, in the shading tab, you're going to see a bunch of nodes. And nodes are like little things you can work with to make your character, materials, and other things pop out. It's just a whole thing that you don't have to worry about for right now, which is perfect. So we want to go to this main texture. Now we just want to hit X on it. And it's going to get rid of that gray texture that we don't need, so don't even worry about it. Now you want to hit open. Now you want to find where you put your rig. And of course I put mine in that folder I had preset. And as you can see, it's going to pop up with our skin color and our clothing, all the textures that we wanted. That's perfect. And you might notice there's one hiccup. We don't have the face that we had. Do not panic. Do not. We just want to go down to face texture, hit X on that. That's going to get rid of the default Roblox face. Hey everyone, so I'm re-recording this part, so I'm sorry about this. But before you even open this, what you need to do is you actually need to open your folders and go into download, and what you need to do is then right click Roblox HD faces, and then you need to go to extract all. Now you want to extract all those files into a new file. I forgot to mention that. But once you do that, then you can open up the file. Now once you exported all the faces and open it in Blender like I should have showed you, you're gonna see all these faces. Now you can use any single one of these. Make sure you know the name of the face you want to use, because honestly searching for them, just scrolling down and looking for them is gonna be pain and misery. But whenever you find a face that you like, just select it, then open image, and then it's there. I completely made a mistake on my part, so I'm an idiot. If you're gonna watch more of my videos, get used to this. Anyway, back to the video. Now once you selected it, we can get out of this shading tab. Now we're gonna go back to layout, but when you go back to layout, it's gray. It's like, you're probably gonna think what I did wrong. I didn't do anything wrong, and you didn't do anything wrong. We're just in a different viewport. So these are your viewports up here. This is wire. This is, I forgot what this one was called. Shading. No, it's called solid. My mistake. This is shading, I think, or material preview. I'm getting it all wrong. And this is a rendered viewport. So you don't want to hit this one. We want to hit this one. And as you can see, our textures pop up, and we can see our beautiful not smile. And we're gonna see that we are gonna be missing our accessories, which is so easy to pop in. All we need to do is go into File, Import, Wavefront OBJ. Now, once you do that, just find where you put your textures. Again, I put mine in that little tutorial folder that is super easy to find. Now, when you open up the items, there's gonna be two. There's gonna be MTO and OBJ. You don't want to hit MTO, you want to hit OBJ. Now, you just want to go over to this little drop down, and you're gonna see split by group. You just want to select that. Now, that's gonna separate all of the items, so each of them is their own item, and we can actually work with them individually. So I can press the hair, and it won't be connected to the vest and the bag, or the eye patch. We can just work with the hair. And that's what we want. So after that, what we need to do now is we need to connect the hair and the eye patch to the head. Now, how do we do that? Pretty simple. All we need to do is just select both of them. If I could, oh my goodness, I'm selling the bag. Once we have selected both, we just select this little cogwheel up here. As you see, it's gonna highlight the whole rig, and that's what we want. Now after that, we want to go to pose mode. Now in pose mode, there's going to be a bunch of different colored lines. Do not worry about that. We just select the one that we want to work with, which is the head. Now after we select the head, we want to hit Control and then P, and a bunch of things going to pop up, and you want to hit bone. Now bone basically means it's attaching that our hair and our eye patch to this line, which is basically the head. And as you can see, when we move the head and rotate it around, it's going to move with it. But if we don't do this, fun fact, if we move the body, then the accessories will follow it. So we need to attach the bag and the vest right now. So we're going to repeat the same process, but this time we're not going to select the head bone. We're going to select the torso bone, which is right here. So when we do that, it's now connected to the torso. It's going to move with it. Perfect. So we're pretty much done setting up the rig. Now it's time for all the fancy stuff. What I mean by fancy stuff, I mean posing and camera work and lighting. Now, I'm not going to go too in depth into all of them today. We're just going to start with something simple, so just relax. So first we're going to set up our camera, right? So what we want to do is, we already have a camera set up, but it happens, you might have accidentally deleted the camera. Don't panic, we can easily add another one. All you need to do is hit add, and once you hit add, just go down the camera, and another camera should pop up just like that. Easy, but we're not going to use that one. We're going to use this one right over here because we already have it. Now once we have that camera, all we need to do is hit this little button over here, the view in the camera. Now we want to hit view up here and go all the way down to navigation, and we're going to hit walk navigation. Now what walk navigation does is it makes it 10 times, a million times, 100 million bagillion times easier to move your camera than what we would normally use. We just use a bunch of slider bars, and that's a lot of work, and we don't want to do that. So we want to find an angle that works for you. Again, you can place the camera anywhere you want. You can place it like this. So we're gonna just play around with it. I really don't know. I don't really have a direction, so I'm just kind of just messing around. But once we have that all set up, now it's time to work on posing. Now I like to look in my camera every time I do posing, because from this viewpoint, we're not gonna get much information of what we're actually seeing in our finished product. So I always like to work in the camera viewport. So you want to hit this cog rig up here, and again we want to go back into that pose mode. This allows us to move all of our bones freely without messing anything up. Now, as you can see, different bone parts will do different things. Like this shoulder one will move the entire arm, while this kind of like, what do you even call that part of the arm? The bendy part of the arm, I can't think right now, so I'm just gonna call it the bendy part. That's gonna move the arm. And this little part is gonna move the hand. I typically don't use this one because it makes like really weird twists and turns that we just don't want. So we're gonna do a simple little pose. I'm gonna probably use this for my thumbnail, so what I'm showing you now will be the final product. Alright, now I'm back. And as you see, I didn't do anything crazy while I was gone, so like, don't worry, you didn't miss much. But here's our pose I went with. Now, just a little tip for posing. Again, I'm not gonna go too crazy about like talking about posing, lighting, and all that. But I think it just gives a more natural feel. Even though it's blocky characters, it gives a more natural feel that if you add little bends within the arm, maybe even the torso gets a little like lean forward, like just things like that, just add a little bit more realism. Like when you see someone in public, you don't see them standing straight up, well, unless they have like really great posture. That's like impossible to spot. But like, unless someone has like amazing posture, you don't see them sitting straight up, arms like fully extended out. You want to add little bends in the knees, like the bendy part of the arm that I still haven't figured out what to say. But just add little things to make it feel a little bit more natural, even if it's like even a tiny head tilt. But just a little rant about posing, just to make it more natural. But we're pretty much done with posing, and now it's time to move on to one part that could get a little bit complicated, but not really, which is lighting. I'm not a huge fan of HDRIs. If you watch other tutorials, you might have heard of it, HDRI. I'm not a huge fan of it. I'm not a hater, I just don't like the harsh lighting it gives off. But that's just my opinion, so like, take it with a grain of salt, I guess. So what I normally do is I use a 3-point lighting method, which is basically 3 of these area lights. I just remember I didn't even tell you how to add lights. I'm kind of stupid. So what you want to do is you want to go to add, and then you want to go to light, and you just want to hit area. Now this would add an area light. Now there's a couple other types of light. Let me just show you real quick. There's point light, which is basically a light bulb, a floating light bulb. Sun, of course, will act like the sun. Spotlight would be more like a lamppost, or like, yeah, like a lamppost light, basically, or spotlight. I should just use that. And air is more like a studio light. That's where I like to use it more often than not. So 3-point lighting, I normally have 2 in the back, or 2 on the sides, aiming towards the back, and 1 in the front. Now the one in the front, that is gonna make it so we can actually see the face. And you're probably wondering, what are you talking about? Lighting has not changed. You've added 3 different lights and nothing's changed. Well, because I'm in the wrong viewpoint. Like I said, we need to go to the rendered viewpoint to see the lighting. Now you're probably like, I still haven't seen the lighting. This is a joke. This tutorial is garbage. And I do agree with you, this is probably going to turn out garbage, but I digress. What you want to do now is, our lights are very weak, so we're pretty much shining like a Hello Kitty light in like a room full of darkness, and we're not going to say anything. So we just want to up the lighting. So I'm going to go with red and a blue mixture. Don't ask me why, it's just how I'm feeling today. So again, I think you should have multiple light sources. I don't think you should ever use a pure white light source. It just gives off a really weird vibe. See, this is giving like a nighttime vibe to me. But let me just change the background to dark. Perfect. Now, as you can see, our character is not that well lit up. even with our 2 lightings. So I'm gonna go back to this viewport because I can actually see my lightings. And then I'm gonna add another one. This one's gonna be a lot weaker than the other ones. Mainly just because I don't want to give off the impression that we're getting hit by like the sun. Because I think really harsh lighting is something that really kills shadows. That's why I don't like HDRIs that much, and that's why I think you should avoid using them. So, as you can see, there's our lighting. Let me just give a little bit more so it doesn't look as bland. Again, we're not going for anything like complicated in this tutorial. I'm just going for something very simple and very quick. Because again, if you're like me, when I was first learning, I did not want to listen to a guy blabber like I am doing. So I'm trying to make this as quick as possible. So when you go into this, you're going to see that in the viewport, this is where you can see your lighting. And this is better for working. Different viewports have different jobs for each other. So listen, I would not work in this viewpoint. I'm going to show you why. But this viewport is mainly work for like working. So like actually adding things and setting up a scene. And this would be more for like controlling lighting and looking at what a finished product should look like. But for right now, it's looking decent, and it's gonna get 2 times as better. I had to quantify it because I couldn't quantify it in words, so I did in numbers. So as you can see, we're gonna switch our render engine to cycles. You just go to this little render tab. I just realized I'm doing a horrible job explaining this. So you want to go to this render tab and you want to go to cycles. Now cycles is a lot better than Eevee. Eevee is a great render engine to work in, but it's horrible when it comes to the finished product. As you see, cycles just makes the lighting a lot more better. It really likes to add a lot of shadows and depth to it. And a lot of people will say never use Eevee for a finished product. So when I'm normally working in cycles, I like to change the viewport to 10 and this to about 200 or 800. Samples are like how the quality of your image will come out. So the more samples, the better it look like. But again, once you get to like a certain amount of samples, you really won't see a big difference. So that's what I'm saying. Never have your samples bigger than like, I'd say 800. 800 is a pretty good place where everything will look good, but you won't have to wait like 3 hours for your finished render. Now, once you're done and you feel like you're satisfied with your lighting, your posing, and everything else, what you want to do is you want to go into render tab once again. I'm going to go down, all the way down to film. Now what's film going to do? It's going to make it so that when we go here, our background is blank. It's going to be, what was that word? Transparent, translucent. Basically going to have no background, right? God, I'm really losing my words here. So that when we render this, do a quick render, the background is going to be empty and transparent, and we can actually add any background we want to it. I forgot to mention, like an idiot I am, when you are finished, you want to go to this render tab and you want to hit render image. Now this is going to whatever was in the camera, it's going to render that. So if there's something outside the camera that the camera isn't picking up, it's not going to render it and it's not going to pick it up. So make sure that your whole scene, character, and rig is within the camera. But also, feel free to play around the camera. It's a very unique tool. I'm going to show you a little bit more tricks to do with the camera after this is done rendering. It does take a bit, that's why I'm kind of yapping about, trying to fill up this time. But There we go. There's our finished product. And once it's done rendering, you can go to image and then save. I'm just going to save this to my desktop since I'm lazy. But just a quick camera trick, what you can do is make sure you select your camera when you do this. Is you want to adjust the focal length. Now this will make it so it's so much easier for certain more things to pop out. So if you're working close up and you want to close up like GFX, definitely go towards 80. But if you're working with like a big scene, like a fight scene or like anything basically with that isn't like a focus up, like it's more of like a scene, you want to go to more towards 25 to 30. But for this, we're gonna be working pretty close up, so I think 50 was actually like the perfect millimeter focal length. So we're not gonna play around with that too much. Plus, we already saved our render. So we're gonna move into Photoshop now. Alright, once we're in Photoshop, I just added a quick black background, nothing special. As you can see, it's just a black background, so don't freak out. I didn't do anything secret off camera. So now that we're in here, we have our render. What we want to focus on now is shading, any special effects you want to add, just post editing things. Now this can take you a really long time. I'm not a huge fan of spending a lot of time in Blender. I actually prefer to spend most of my time in Photoshop. Because Photoshop, I say it's a lot easier to use. Blender, it just takes up a lot more computer resources and it's just a whole thing. But when I work on shading, just a little trick for you guys is I want to add a new layer. But I also want to say select on this one. I'm going to select our character, right? We're going to bloop and Photoshop a second. I didn't select the whole character, but that's fine. We want to go to that new layer we just created and create a mask. Now what a mask is going to do is make sure that when we add our highlights, it's not adding highlights to the outside, it's only adding it to inside our character. So if you want to zoom in, all you got to do is just hit Z, and you want to zoom on the eye, just click and drag. That's simple. But now we want to work with our brushes. So a quick hotkey is B for brush, and if you want to erase it, E, just to help you out there. So what we want to do now is we want to focus on dark spots and highlights. So I like to focus on dark spots first. And just say if I want this to be a little bit darker, I'm just going with a brush. Just go over it. And just a quick tip is you really want to have a low flow. This just makes it so that when you're adding these shadows, it's not as harsh as you think. Or not as harsh as it should be. Because if you really have harsh shadows, it just takes away and it makes everything just feel a little bit photoshopped. You know, a good Photoshop job should make it feel like you never even touched Photoshop. But I'm just gonna add a little bit of darkness here and there, just so our highlights will stand out a little bit more. I'm not gonna do anything crazy, just for the sake of time. But I'm just adding little shadows and little things here and there. Again, don't go crazy, but go crazy at the same time. Now, once you're done with that, now for highlights, depending on what type of lighting you have, I will actually select that type of lighting. So, kind of that. I'm gonna go with that arm color we got going. Just put in a touch of it here and there around the edges. I really don't want to go too harsh on it, but then again, I also want to add some of the other colors, like the brown, because I don't feel like adding too much of one color is a good idea. It's really just going to take away. Now, once you're done adding highlights, and you want to add a little bit more flair, what I would do is add a new layer, plop it right behind or right under your main layer, which is the render we have out, and you just want to pop a little bit more into it, just to make your character stand out a little bit more. And it makes it so if you do add white highlights, they're not as harsh or as outstanding as like or unnatural. I think one thing I really hate about some GFX artists is they make things really unnatural, just too outstanding. And I really try to avoid that when I work on my GFXs. And of course, if that's your style, totally go for it. I'm not trying to cramp your style. But again, I'm not going to try to go too crazy on everything. I'm just adding little details. Again, try to avoid using pure white unless like your scene has a strong white light in it, and I don't expect a lot of scenes to have a strong white light in it, so try not to go overboard on white. Try to mix in white with a little bit of blue, a little bit of red. Again, I'm not trying to go crazy on this one, but that's pretty much how you add it. If you want to add highlights, again, change it to white, go into your mask layer, and just add them in. Try not to be too obvious about it, but I'll just like click and drag where you want it. Try to highlight it, the face a little bit more, just so it appeals a little bit more. Maybe try to get some more white up here and here, a little up here. But there you go. That's how you make a GFX. Pretty simple one to make. Again, I really want to go more in depth on lighting, shading, and just post editing work in different videos. But for now, I think this is wraps. Maybe add a little bit of white to blend in these a little bit more. But yeah, if you guys are looking for more videos like this, definitely subscribe. I'm trying to relearn how to do GFXs. I started learning last year, but honestly I just didn't pick it up because I got really busy. So I'm kind of relearning and reteaching myself a lot of things. So I'd be glad to share what I'm relearning and learning on my journey. I know this was kind of a yap video because I'm trying to explain it to where you can understand it, but also like help beginners. So sorry if this felt a little redundant or felt a little over explained. I just try to be beginner friendly as I can. I am gonna leave a link to my Discord chat, not Discord channel, my Discord, just in case you guys want to join it. Share your GFXs that you're making and share your artwork. Honestly, I love seeing people follow my tutorials because it feels nice to make impact. But yeah, if you have any questions, definitely join the Discord. Subscribe if you want to see more, and thank you for watching.